Well, hello again, everyone. This is Ted Schmidt, Action Coach Northwest, and this is another edition of our Business Spotlight podcast. And today, our guest is Mark Fiebig, founder and CEO of Payscore. Welcome, Mark.
Thanks, Ted. Good to be here.
Awesome. Great to have you. Look forward to hearing all your words of wisdom here today on our Business Spotlight podcast. If I could talk today, it might help, right? Okay, question number one. Here we go. If you had to start from square one in business, what would you do differently?
Oh boy, I think probably do everything I could to build a broader network still. The more you can sponge and learn off of people, man, I'll tell you what, it's a real accelerant. And that's, I think, something that maybe is overlooked for folks who are just entering their career. I don't know, maybe it's just me that overlooked it, but I feel like in retrospect, had I started that cycle earlier, I would have started to enjoy the benefits of having that network earlier on.
Wow. I like that. Nobody has ever given us that answer before. I love that answer. That's a great answer. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. Question number two. What have your biggest learnings been as an employer since you began in business?
Gosh, well, legislation is real.
Yes.
As you build a team across states, you find out that each state has all its intricacies about employment law, their payroll taxes and, L&I, all these things. It's just a little bit different as you move across the country and build out your teams. And so that's something that I didn't really anticipate or think about, but I think it's worth making a note of if and as you're finding yourselves in building a company, building teams that cross borders. There are some surprises waiting for you in that regard.
Wow. Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. It just depends on where you are, right?
Right.
And what can be the okay in one state is not okay in another, and vice versa. Yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, you
Okay.
get into things like, I'm going to give you an example. In Colorado, we had, as you're growing companies, the employees don't always fit in the space, right? Square peg, round hole sometimes. And so you let somebody go in Colorado, day of termination, now I'm not an attorney, but day of termination, they're entitled to their full pay for that work period.
Wow.
Never been into that before.
Wow. The whole day. Okay. All
Right.
right.
Yeah.
All right. Good grief. Okay. All right. I did not know that. Okay. What are some common misconceptions about running a business, and how do you address them?
Um, I think one common misconception might be that you always have an answer for everything. As the person leading the business, I think folks may come to a position or a perception that, hey man, whoever's running the show, they know everything. And that couldn't be anything further from the truth, at least in my case. I can't speak for others, but I rely heavily on the team. And that's what any good team has, is strengths in numbers and in variety, right? Everybody on the team comes from a different background, different set of shared experiences and independent experiences. They've got their own bag of tricks they can reach into to help move the company through a challenge, through a series of challenges, through a market capture set of challenges, like whatever the case may be. Don't shy away from leaning into the collective bag of tricks, if you will.
Yeah. Wow. No doubt. I think anybody that's ever owned a business knows that. You don't have all the answers. There's no way. There's just no way.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's not possible.
So what do you attribute your growth to?
Really solving a problem for our customers. I mean, plain and simple. It's the old adage, do the dogs eat the dog food, right? And if you're not solving a real problem, if you're not bringing the dog, so to speak, something that tastes good to them, you're going to be standing around the dog park with a full bag of food and nobody's interested.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so you've got to have a measurable problem, something that is easily identifiable, a situation that can be resolved through ingenuity, through um, technology, applications of technology, reorganizing processes. But it's got to eliminate pain points. And you're stuck in the water, dead in the water if you're not taking away pain for your customers.
Yeah. Outstanding. I love that. Well, really, sales, that's what sales is, solving problems, right? That's
Yeah,
without sales, there's no business. So,
that's
okay.
right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I had
Okay.
a board member, one of my past businesses. I'd come to him, weeping and moaning about some problem or other, and he'd say, "Look, it revenue solves all problems. What are you talking to me for? Go close a deal."
Yeah, that's true. Isn't that true?
Yeah,
Little cash flow cures a lot of ailments, right? That's for
right.
sure.
It sounds trite,
Okay.
but it really is true. It opens up the doors.
It is true. It is true. Okay, here's a different one. How do you balance your personal life with the demands of running a business?
Yeah, I think that's important that you attend to your mental health and your physical health. And even as we build the team here at Payscore, when we're bringing in new folks to join the team, we talk about a work-life blend as opposed to a work-life balance. I mean, the people who are passionate about their work, even when they're not working, they're taking a run or they're, playing golf, whatever it is, playing tennis, going for a bike ride. People who are passionate about their work never stop thinking about their work even when they're involved in their extracurricular activities. And so we try to talk about it and think about it as this work-life blend where there is that overlap. You can't eliminate your consciousness about the things that you're passionate about, but make sure that the weighting in that blend is appropriate for where you are in the moment. You got to be in the moment.
Hold on, I gotta write this down. In the moment. I love that. That's a great way. That's a great way to state that. Awesome. Boy, we are sailing through here. Okay, question number 6. What qualities do you look for in employees and how do you foster a positive and productive work environment?
Sure. For us, the capacity to learn, creativity, ingenuity, these are the things that, in my experience, yield the greatest output from team members. Is folks who can find a different way to do things, who aren't afraid to take a risk and try something in a different manner, a
Mhm.
different way. You can learn the industry, you can learn the skill sets, but do you have these talents that are innate? Do you have the willingness to be creative and seek ingenuity and find different approaches? Because that's where the best things come from. We talk about boring folks have boring ideas.
Mm,
So tell me about the creative things you do outside of work, because I know that some of that's going to rub off when you are in work, when you're deep in the throes of getting those things done daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly. Um, it all rubs off. So how do you bring your whole self? And is there a whole self? And I'm not inclined to bring people into the team who are purely work focused. That's all they do. I mean, it sounds enticing to find somebody who wants to work 70, 80 hours a week. But I'll tell you what happens, their ideas get pretty stale.
mm.
I look at one thing, only thinking about one thing. I'm sorry, Ted, I've forgotten the second part of your question. That was a two-part
Uh,
question.
how do you foster a positive and productive work
Hmm.
environment?
No, that's great. Appreciate it. So one of the things that we live by here at PayScore is having set a stake in the ground in the very early days. Coming back to this idea of is there a customer problem you're solving? We set out to build this business, making lives easier for people. And that really translates across the organization, the decisions that we make. It's not just the ideas that we bring to bear to help our customers run their businesses more efficiently. It also informs how we treat each other as members of the PayScore team, about the decisions we make regarding the technology to build. If we can't answer the question, it's making life easy for somebody, it's back to the drawing board. And so if we carry that sense and that sensibility in all of our decision making, we use that to inform how we set priorities. I'll tell you what, it keeps the mood pretty positive. It's great to see.
Yeah, I like that. Sense and Sensibility. I think they that was a book, right?
Yeah.
And a
Yes,
movie
it
too,
was.
I think, right?
Right. Oh yeah. Yep.
All right. Okay. What question should I be asking you that I haven't?
Oh, that's a good one. Well, let's see. Geez, man. I don't know. I don't know. That's a toughie. You stumped me there.
Uh-oh. Well, any words of advice or anything that just off the top of your head that if you had to give somebody some advice, what would it be, another business owner? What's the biggest or the best, either the best piece of advice you've ever gotten or the biggest mistake you've ever made and how you overcame it? Something
Well,
like that.
sure. I mean, I can give you some words of wisdom, just built on experience from another board member at a different company. Um, this fellow made it very plain that you never know who you're going to meet, where you're going to meet them, or what your new relationship may yield for you. And this is no joke. This fellow, we were at a lunch meeting one day, and I asked him to just turn around his appointment book. This is back in the day before the smartphone. He had this little black calendar book, he'd write his appointments in there.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna lie, you look at through his week, you flip through weeks, and he's got 2 lunches, he's got 2 happy hours, 2 dinners, sometimes 4 breakfasts in a day. Like it didn't matter. He would take the meeting. He's booking meetings back to back, end to end, all day long. And this is a guy who would walk the streets, walk to the office every day. And, this is a good example. You have these surface street parking lots, right?
Hmm.
Used to be somebody in the booth taking your money, giving you a ticket that you put on your windshield. You built a relationship with this kid in the parking booth, parking lot attendant. Turns out he was part of the family that owned the parking lot that happened to own a bunch of other parking lots. And they started buying business insurance from him, helped build his business insurance business
Yeah.
just
Wow.
by taking the time to stop and talk to the person who was in your sphere as you're moving down the street, moving through the day.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to start new conversations, I guess is the TLDR on that. Just get into it, man. Anybody that you're with, anybody you see, anyone you talk to, you never know where it goes, where it may lead.
Yeah. That's great. Great advice. Great advice. Thank you for that. Okay. Wow. Believe it or not. Last question here. Where do
Oh,
you see yourself at 5 years? And any words of advice for other business owners who are looking to grow their business?
well, in 5 years, I think the trajectory we're on here at Payscore, odds are pretty good that we've had a successful exit. We've already had folks make offers to buy the company, but we're continuing to build and holding out for better offers. And so, like I say, inside of 5 years, I think we'll get to that place where the exit offers are making sense for the owners of the company. Um, so that's I think where that goes. Now, what happens after that for me personally? Do I start another business? Hard to say. I mean, it's a disease being an entrepreneur.
Yeah,
I
it is.
don't think I haven't run across a vaccine for it yet, and I think
Nope.
probably drive my wife crazy if I were just hanging around the house all the day. So who knows? Maybe we'll start something else after this one. And what was the second part of your question, Ted?
Second, Pat, any words of advice for other business owners who are looking to grow their business?
Sure. Yeah, I think persistence and take input from the doubters, but don't let the doubters determine your path. I mean, I can tell you the thousands and thousands of no's that I've gotten. People telling me no, or that'll never work, or it's a crazy idea, or it's not good for reason X, Y, or Z. But you got to have the persistence to push through. It's uh, this is maybe kind of a funny one. I had another couple people have told me this one. Said, it's the A students generally work for the B students, and the C students are the ones who started the businesses because they were never smart enough to know you couldn't do it.
Yeah, there you go.
So, and embrace that risk taking and the willingness to push through even when you have doubters.
Yeah,
Really easy to be a doubter, really hard to be the one that pushes through and finds a solution to make lives easier for people.
yeah. Everybody's got some advice, right?
Yeah.
That's what
Oh yeah.
that's what it is. That's what
Yeah.
it
Plenty
is.
of backseat drivers.
Yeah, exactly. Well, wow. I got a page of notes here. Very concise answers, but awesome stuff. So I really appreciate that. I would like to thank Mark Fiebig, founder and CEO of Payscore, for being our guest today. And great job, Mark. That was really great.
I
Thank you.
appreciate it, Ted. I enjoyed the time.
All right. Take care.